good afternoon, aloha, and 皆さん来ていただいてどうもありがとうございました。My name is Deidre Teagarden, and I am honored to be the Executive Director here at the Nisei Veterans Memorial Center. And we want to thank all of you for being with us this afternoon. Thank you very much. You know, we didn't know how many people were going to be here today. This is the first of a series of speaker series we will be having, and we just weren't sure. But if you look around and you see the standing room only crowd, I think we've done very well, and that is a testament to the men who are sitting to my right. They will be introduced a little bit later, but I would like to acknowledge the gentlemen starting from my far right, Mr. Harold Okamura, Mr. Masao Motooka. Mr. Tom Yamada could not be with us today, but David Fukuda will be sharing his stories a little bit later this afternoon, so he gets a lei as well. And Robert Nishida also was not able to join us today, but he is represented by his daughter, Ms. Arlene Puaʻilihau, so we thank her for being here today. And we thank all of the families who are here with us today as well. We have family members that flew in from Oahu, and we thank you very, very much for being here. I wanted to give a couple of thank yous for some people who made it very possible for us to be here today. Of course, we have our media partner, Akaku. We thank them very much. Thank you, Akaku. And also our co-sponsor today is the Maui Sons and Daughters of the Nisei Veterans. We have a few of the members in the audience. If you could raise your hand, and we thank you very much.
We are pleased to have all of you in attendance to hear the stories of these men before you today. When each one is approached, they all hesitated, saying they had nothing special to share with us. And furthermore, these are events that happened 75 years ago and no one's interested in them. They agreed to speak when we told them only 10 people are coming to listen. This reluctance that they had is born by more than just a normal tendency of veterans not to speak of the war experiences. But in the case of the Military Intelligence Service, or CIC, that we have up here, they were bound by secrecy of their activities for 3 decades until the passing of the Freedom of Information Act. While you will not hear Audie Murphy-type combat stories, you will hear reflections about the war, its tragedies, as well as stories of its humanity. The men here include those who were already enlisted when the war began and men who were not involved until after the war was over. These were members of the Military Intelligence Service and Counterintelligence Corps with experiences ranging from translation of documents, prisoner interrogations, helping save citizen lives, and rebuilding post-war Japan. So right now I'll turn this over to Harold Okamura, and let him tell a story.
What am I to say now? You know what? I'm hard of hearing, and my hearing aid is sitting down there. April 1st, 1945, the first day of April, and the army crossed right across Okinawa, cut the island in half, no resistance at all. So they predicted that they're going to secure the island in 3 weeks, but it took 3 months because they had a tough conflict on the south side. On the north, it was okay because there wasn't damage up there, and no Japanese soldiers too much up there. So the Marines went north and we went south. Then the resistance came harder. Then my job was, every time they have a cave, they call us and to go there and call them out. Call them out, and I tell them, if they don't come out, we're going to close the cave, or we're going to throw flame in there. So sometimes the people comes out. But some cannot come out, some caves they cannot come out because there are Japanese soldiers in there, and they won't let them out. So we cannot help but call the tank and blow the flame in there, and then you see the kids running out, all burned. It's sad, it's sad. And then when we get the people out, we tell them where to go, and we give them food and medicine, and take care of them with, tents so they can sleep. Mabuni was the last place where the Japanese made a last stand. I saw the girls jumping over the cliff, but I cannot do nothing because I'm not there. At least if I were there, I will coax them to, change their mind. But it's sad, real sad. Then we secured Mabuni, then had General Ushijima and General Cho body buried right there, but their head was missing. I think the soldiers took the head home or something, I don't know, Japan. That's tradition, I guess. Yeah, after the war, after the campaign, they sent me up north to take care of the civilians coming out from the caves. So I had a job there. I thought, and then in August, the atomic bomb fell and they tell us the war is over. I thought I was coming home, but no, they told me we have to stay back and help them rebuild Okinawa. So we stayed back another year. And then somebody from Okinawa came here, interviewed me, and then he says, they want me to be in Okinawa, come visit because all free trip. But I didn't want to go because I saw all the horrible things. So I said, no, I don't want to go. Then later on, my daughter said, no, let's all go, let's all go. So the whole bunch of us, I didn't want to go, but they said, go, so we went. But it was a big surprise because they had all the cameramen and all the TV guys. Oh, man, just like I won the war myself. But I was really surprised because I couldn't recognize where I was. They told me where we landed, but it was all different. It all houses, big cities, and they took me to the memorial museum. Oh, that was sad, yeah. They have all the pictures and all the, that names of thousands. It's really bad. So I told them, war is hell. If you're not in it, you don't know. It's bad, it's bad. I cannot say, really, I saw gruesome things, civilians. I hate to remember that. And then these kamikazes, they come in. Because the invasion had 1,200 ships, all kinds, tankers, hospital, troop ships. So the kamikaze used to come in the evening. Oh, they get a nice target, anything they like, But a lot of them missed, though, because we caught one pilot that he missed the Kadena airport. And he was a young boy, though, 16 years old. So we tell him, what you did? He says, oh, they teach me for about 24 hours how to fly, one way. And, one way, that's all. So that's suicide. 17 years, so long ago, so when I visited there, there's only one man came up to see me. He's an old man already. So if I was the one that called him out from the Mabuni cave, I said, no, it wasn't me, it was somebody else. Then, I don't know whether he was going to praise me or shoot me down. Then there's another girl, she was 12 years old, and one of the Nisei or soldiers told him, hey, you chubby, So she cannot understand what chubby is, so she came to me and told me, what means chubby? I thought, you fat. Man, she remember me till 70 years old. I'll never say a woman is fat now. I learned a lesson, you know. I made myself beautiful. You beautiful.
On January 10th, 1945, had Uncle Sam sent a letter that you're going to join the army. So 3 boys from Hana was drafted. So we went to Schofield Barracks. That was in 1945. They sent us to, they needed interpreters, so we had a small team of, I don't know how many, and then we went to Saipan. While I was in Saipan, I think they were still, the B-29s was bombing Japan because we were going to invade her. So they were throwing incendiary bombs then. Then after that, I was going to Diffin Islands until I was shipped to Japan as an occupational. Yeah. And then I was stationed at the NYK building in Tokyo. That was in 1946, I think. When I had a 10-day furlough, I went to Yamaguchi to see my grandparents. And then I stayed with them for about 10 days. And when I went there, I passed through Hiroshima, and the 2 sides of the track, when we trained, was flat with just 1 atomic bomb.
The other islands, you know, you said you hopped from island to island. What happened there? What did you guys do?
Do what they call translation.
Interrogation?
Yeah. Anyway, I'll take questions.
Okay. Yeah, he claims all he did was drink beer, but NYK building. What was the shape of that building? What did you guys do there?
That's a big hotel in right near the train station. We were stationed there. And then
who else was stationed there? Was it just
our boys?
Just your boys?
Yeah. I was on the 6th floor.
Mm-hmm. What is the what kind of things do you do there?
Drink beer.
So after the war, you came back to Hawaii.
Right.
And where did you go?
Went back to Hana.
To Hana. And who were you employed by?
Hana Ranch.
Hana Ranch.
I worked for Hana Ranch for 35 years, and I'm retired for 35 years now. It's Mr. Fagan who had the ranch. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And at that time, it was Kawiki Inn. Then it came Hotel Hana Maui. Yeah. Our boss called me one weekend. It was on a Saturday. And he told us to work on a Saturday because somebody died. I mean, I'm going to die. And we were supposed to make a coffin. And he was Charles Lindbergh. Yeah, Charlie. I call him Charlie. Anyway, he was driving a green Jeep, and then I think he was dying from cancer. So he had a friend in Kipahulu, Sam Pryor, big boss of Pan American, and he gave him a property in Kipahulu. So he came to Kipahulu to just, live there with his wife. I think his wife was Ann Morrow, who writes books. Well, anyway, we made the coffin on a Saturday. After we finished the coffin, we couldn't even carry it because it was made from eucalyptus.
Okay, my name is Arlene Nishida Pua'ilihau, and I am the daughter of Robert Nishida. They wanted me to talk about my Uncle Hanzo and how my father got involved. My father has been a farmer all his life, either part-time or full-time. So he grew up as a farmer's, son. And my Uncle Hanzo, his brother, my grandfather, and my father started Farmers Exchange to get all the farmers to work together. And my Uncle Hanzo had a lot of big ideas for a man at that time. And he would tell my father often, look up and think big. Don't think small, because you're not going to make yourself anything, out of yourself, anything, if you don't think big. You got to give it a try. There's no harm in trying. So he would do that. And in fact, my Uncle Hanzo himself was summoned by the Japanese government at that time to go to Manchuria and try to teach them how to farm. When he went there, he never came back. And to this day, we don't know where Uncle Hanzo is. So we're farmers through and through. So that might ask you, how did my father get involved in all of this? Well, he was drafted, and when he went to Schofield, that's when Mr. Crane, who knew him as a scout, being in the Scouts, knew him, and he suggested, to he was the provost marshal of Maui, Mr. Crane. He suggested that, my father get into the CIC, which was something new at that time. And my father didn't even know it. But he was called to go off to Saipan, like a lot of these guys were. But he didn't think anything about it. But he was told his commander told him, don't open this envelope until you get outside of Oahu. So he's thinking, what's going up here, But he finally opened it. He was told to go see the general on Saipan. And he spent some time on Saipan. He found out he was in the CIC, which is the predecessor of the CIA today. But what happened was he got his orders to see the general. The general wasn't there. He was sent to Nagasaki 1 month after the bombing of Nagasaki. He stayed there for 2 months. And what he did was he interrogated a lot of the prisoners in the prisons. And he would have to tell his commanders who to pass through and who to hold back for further questioning. After 2 months, he was sent to Kagoshima. And in Kagoshima, he became the courier for the army, sending secret messages to Kyoto, their office. So he'd get on a train every Thursday, get on the train, take all the letters or whatever secret info, that they had gathered, and he would take it up to Kyoto and be back on Monday. So that was his job, and when he got out of the military, he was told he wasn't supposed to speak about it. So till this day, he holds it to his heart. He doesn't want other people asking questions what the CIC did during those times. And it's kind of like they brainwashed you, telling them they can't speak about these things. But he did see a lot of atrocities there. Like he went back to Nagasaki a few years ago, and the only building in Nagasaki, it was only one building. Everything was flattened. That building still stands today, and he recognized that building. But, people were dying. Because he was within the radiation area, he had people coming to him with their flesh was practically melting off their bodies. And my dad's, he has cancer too, but he's one of the lucky ones. He's still living. So he's part of there is a group in the United States called the Atomic Veterans, the National Atomic Veterans Association. it takes care of all the people that were on Bikini Island in Nevada, but in my dad's case, he was in Nagasaki 1 month after the bombing. And I have seen it. I have lived through my father's PTSD, and it's really a hard life. I didn't understand it at first, but now I do, and I wish that never happens to any other country or what they have to go through, because these gentlemen really had to go through a hard time, and especially the intelligence services, they were told not to talk about it. And now it's coming out, and now people want to know. And it's not something they really want to live through again.
Do any of you know Tajijiro Higa?
When we landed the first time, I was with him, and he and I were on a knoll, you know, and we went to take a bath. So he said, "Oh, the water tank is down there on the trailer, so go down and get it." So I built a fire so he could get the water. Then the kamikaze came, and then they started shooting all around. So he's naked, you know, still under the tank like that. And here, I was building the fire. The captain came and said, "Hey, no fire. You want to get shot or shit? We don't know about war those days." So, and then he left us. Then when I came back, on the way back, I met him. He was a paratrooper. So I don't know what he did after that.
There are a couple stories that are nice stories that Mr. Nishida shared with me. Every day, prisoners from the Philippines were coming in. Japanese soldiers were coming in. And so he had to do this checking of seeing who was coming in. And he did identify one general, said that was sent up for trial as a war crime prisoner. He helped in the Japan elections, and one of the not proudest, but moment that he really touched with was when the order came down that they had to close down the brothels and bonded women in Japan. He went out and had to do that, and said it was really touching because the women were really appreciative of that, being able to get free at that point in time. What is your message for peace in the world, having seen what you have seen?
The message I can give is, don't ever start a war, though, man. Because try to be friendly with everybody, and then we don't have any war. I tell you, that's the best.
I don't think that there are words great enough to thank you for coming in today, for sharing these stories that you've not shared, and for sharing your words of wisdom for a world of peace, not starting war. But we thank you so very, very much. We are deeply indebted to you and have a great deal of gratitude to you and your families and everybody. So we thank you all so much for coming out today.